Elena Moss stood at the reception desk. She gave her name. The woman behind the desk typed without looking up, screen angled away. "Have a seat. Someone will be with you." Elena nodded. She turned toward the waiting area. 8 chairs, half occupied. She chose a seat with a clear view of the elevator and the reception desk. She sat. She placed her briefcase upright against the chair leg. She kept her coat on. She removed her phone from her coat pocket and checked the time, 2:49 p.m. She returned the phone to her pocket. 2 other visitors sat nearby. One read his phone. One had a laptop open on her lap. A security guard sat at a desk near the elevator bank, facing the elevators. The receptionist answered a phone call. "Good afternoon. How may I direct your call?" She transferred the call. She returned to typing. At 3:02, a young woman in business attire exited the elevator. She approached the reception desk. The receptionist stood slightly. "Ms. Patterson?" "Yes." "She's ready for you, third door on the left." The woman walked directly toward the hallway. She did not wait. Elena watched. She checked her phone. 3:03 p.m. She did not approach the desk. She moved her briefcase 2 inches closer to her chair. She crossed her ankles. She placed her hands in her lap. No one approached her. The clock above the desk read 3:07 p.m. At 3:18, Elena stood. She walked to the reception desk. She stopped 3 feet back and waited. The receptionist finished typing and looked up. "I'm here for Vincent Hargrove, 3 o'clock." The receptionist glanced at her screen. "Yes, he's finishing up a call. Should be just a few more minutes." "Okay, I'll let you know." The receptionist returned to her screen. Elena walked back to her seat. She sat. She opened her briefcase. She removed a tablet, but did not turn it on. She placed the tablet on her lap. The briefcase remained open at her feet. The man with the laptop closed it. He stood. He walked to the elevator without checking out. He pressed the button. The elevator arrived. He entered. The doors closed. The security guard did not react. A younger man entered the lobby. He approached the reception desk and gave his name. "Have a seat." He sat 3 chairs away from Elena. He removed his phone and began scrolling. Elena touched the corner of her briefcase. She did this twice in 40 seconds. The clock read 3:24 p.m. At 3:31, a woman emerged from the hallway. She wore professional attire and carried a tablet. She walked past the reception desk without stopping. She continued toward the private offices and disappeared around a corner. Elena watched. She did not stand. At 3:36, the receptionist stood and picked up her purse. A second receptionist appeared from a back office area. There was no verbal handoff. The first receptionist left through a side door. The second receptionist sat and logged into the computer. At 3:38, Elena closed the tablet case. She stood with the tablet in her hand. She walked to the reception desk. The new receptionist looked up. "I've been waiting for Vincent Hargrove since 3. The receptionist typed the name into the system. "Let me check on that for you." She picked up the phone and dialed an extension. The phone rang 4 times. No one answered. She hung up. "He's probably still in his meeting. I'll send a message." "How much longer do you think?" "I don't have that information, but I've sent the message." Elena nodded. She returned to her seat. She did not sit immediately. She stood for 2 seconds, then she sat. She placed the tablet on the adjacent chair. The briefcase remained open. A woman in her 50s arrived. She gave her name to the receptionist. "Have a seat." The woman sat in the chair the man with the laptop had vacated. She removed a book from her purse and began reading. The younger man continued scrolling his phone. Elena sat with her hands in her lap. The receptionist typed. The clock read 3:44 p.m. At 3:47, the overhead lights flickered once. The afternoon sun angle had lowered. The shadow line on the floor had moved. It now covered Elena's shoes and extended past her chair. An elevator chimed. The phone at the desk rang 3 times in 5 minutes. Distant voices came from the hallway, then faded. The lobby doors opened twice. 2 people exited this building. No one entered. Elena opened the email app on her phone. She scrolled to a confirmation email. The subject line read, "Meeting confirmation, Tuesday 3 p.m., V. Hargrove." She did not open the email. She closed the app. She opened her calendar. She viewed today's date. The meeting entry was visible. Hargrove, exploratory discussion, 3:00 p.m. She did not tap the entry. She closed the calendar. She returned the phone to her pocket. The younger man stood suddenly. He walked to the reception desk. He leaned forward slightly and asked a question Elena could not hear. The receptionist shook her head twice. She said something brief. The man returned to his seat. He picked up his jacket from the adjacent chair, but did not put it on. He sat holding the jacket in his lap. He continued scrolling his phone. At 3:52, the woman from earlier, Bryn Collier, emerged from the hallway. She walked to the reception desk. She spoke quietly to the receptionist for 10 seconds. The receptionist nodded twice. Bryn glanced toward the waiting area. She did not make eye contact with Elena or the younger man. She returned down the hallway. Elena watched her walk away. She did not stand. She touched the corner of her briefcase. She checked her phone. 3:52 p.m. The woman with the book turned a page. The younger man held his jacket. Elena sat motionless. The receptionist resumed typing. At 4:03, the receptionist looked up from her desk. "Ms. Chen?" The woman with the book looked up. "Yes? They're ready for you." A different assistant appeared from the hallway. She greeted Ms. Chen by name and smiled. No. Chen closed her book and placed it in her purse. She stood. She walked with the assistant toward the hallway. They disappeared around the corner. Elena watched. She did not stand. She shifted her weight in the chair, leaning slightly left, then recentering. She looked at her phone without unlocking it. 4:04 p.m. She returned the phone to her pocket. The younger man also watched Ms. Chen leave. He stood with his jacket still in his hand. He walked to the reception desk. "I was supposed to be here at 2:30. The receptionist typed. "Let me call down to HR." She made a phone call. She spoke quietly. She waited on hold for 15 seconds. "They're running behind. Someone will come get you. Do you know how long?" "I don't have a time." "Okay." The younger man did not return to his seat. He stood near the reception desk for 3 seconds. He walked to the window. He looked down at the street 14 floors below. He removed his phone from his pocket. He looked at the screen without unlocking it. He put the phone back in his pocket. He continued standing at the window. Elena opened her briefcase fully. She removed a folder. She opened it. The pages contained printed compliance documentation with highlighted sections and sticky notes protruding. She did not read. She looked at the top page for 4 seconds. She closed the folder without reading beyond the first page. She returned the folder to the briefcase. The briefcase remained open. Elevator chimes now came every 4 to 5 minutes. The receptionist answered fewer calls. Doors closed in the hallway. The clock read 4:11 p.m. At 4:17, Bryn Collier emerged from the hallway. She walked directly toward Elena. Elena sat up slightly. Bryn stopped 3 feet from Elena's chair. "Ms. Moss?" Elena stood immediately. "Yes. I'm so sorry. Mr. Hargrove is still tied up. His previous meeting ran over. I can wait. I'll let him know you're here." "Does he know what time the meeting was scheduled?" Bryn held eye contact for 1 second too long. "I'll check with him." She turned before Elena could respond. She walked back down the hallway. She did not look back. Her footsteps faded. Elena remained standing for 4 seconds after Bryn disappeared. She sat slowly. She closed her briefcase. She latched it fully for the first time. She lifted the briefcase onto her lap. She removed her phone from her coat pocket. She unlocked it. She opened the email app. She tapped Compose. The recipient field was blank. She typed in the field, Vincent. An autosuggest appeared, Vincent, Hargrove, @shawcompany.com. She did not select it. She tapped the subject field. It remained blank. She tapped in the body field. She typed, "Hi, Vincent." She stopped typing. The cursor blinked after the comma. She did not type further. She did not delete the text. She locked her phone without saving the draft. She returned the phone to her pocket. The briefcase remained on her lap. At 4:22, the security guard at the far desk stood. A new security guard appeared. The first guard handed a tablet to the second guard. They spoke briefly. The first guard exited through a side door. The second guard sat at the desk and checked the tablet. He walked the perimeter of the lobby. He returned to the desk. He did not acknowledge Elena or the younger man. The younger man turned from the window. He put his jacket on. He picked up his messenger bag from the floor near his previous seat. He walked to the elevator bank. He pressed the down button. He waited facing the elevator. The elevator arrived. He entered. The doors closed. The floor indicator descended. 14, 13, 12, 11, L. He had not approached the reception desk to check out. The receptionist did not react to his departure. Elena watched the elevator floor indicator complete its descent. The indicator reached L. She looked at the reception desk. The receptionist was typing. Elena did not stand. She moved the briefcase from her lap to the floor in an upright position. She remained seated. The clock read 4:28 p.m. At 4:33, Elena stood. She walked to the reception desk. The receptionist looked up. "Excuse me, do you validate parking?" "Yes, if you're here for a meeting." "I am. I've been here since 3. "Who is your meeting with?" "Vincent Hargrove." The receptionist typed the name into the system. She waited 2 seconds. "Let me get you a validation." And she opened a desk drawer and removed a validation sticker. "How long will you need?" "I don't know." "This is good for 3 hours from entry." Elena removed a parking ticket from her coat pocket. "I arrived at 2:45. The receptionist glanced at the timestamp on the ticket. "So this will cover you until 5:45. She handed the validation sticker to Elena. Elena took it. "Thank you." She returned to her seat. She sat. She peeled the backing from the validation sticker. She applied the sticker to the parking ticket, careful to center it. She returned the ticket to her coat pocket. She did not check her phone. Her hands returned to her lap. The lobby was quieter now. Elevator chimes came every 6 to 8 minutes. The phone at the desk rang. The receptionist answered. "They've left for the day. I can take a message." She hung up. The overhead lighting shifted again. Fewer lights remained on. Elena sat motionless. The receptionist returned to typing. The clock read 4:39 p.m. At 4:51, Bryn Collier walked through the lobby. She carried a tablet and a coffee cup with a lid. She did not walk toward the offices. She walked toward the reception desk. Elena watched from her seat 15 feet away. Bryn spoke to the receptionist. She gestured with her tablet while holding her coffee. The tablet screen tilted toward Elena for 2 seconds during the gesture. Elena could see a calendar grid with multiple colored blocks. She could not read the text. The 3:00 p.m. time slot appeared white. Bryn lowered the tablet. She continued speaking. The receptionist nodded. She said something brief. The conversation ended after 25 seconds. Bryn turned away from the reception desk. She walked toward the elevator bank. She pressed the down button. She waited facing the elevator doors. The elevator arrived. The doors opened. Bryn entered. She turned and faced forward. The doors closed. The floor indicator descended. 14, 13, 12, L. Elena sat completely still for 8 seconds. She looked at her briefcase on the floor. She looked at her hands in her lap. She opened the briefcase. She reached inside. She stopped. She removed her hand. She removed her phone from her coat pocket. She unlocked it. She opened the calendar app. She viewed today's schedule. Hargrove, exploratory discussion, 3:00 p.m. was displayed. She did not tap to edit. She locked the phone. The phone remained in her right hand, resting on her leg. At 4:57, cleaning staff appeared. 2 people in uniforms with a rolling cart. They entered through a side door. They emptied the trash bin in the waiting area 5 feet from Elena. They wiped down the side tables with a cloth. They did not acknowledge Elena. They moved to the reception area. The receptionist stood to allow them to clean behind the desk. They wiped the desk surface and emptied the reception bin. They exited to the elevator with their cart. The doors closed. Elena stood. She did not approach the reception desk. She walked to the window. She looked down at the street 14 floors below. Rush hour traffic was visible. Brake lights, congestion. The sun was lower now, longer shadows on the street. She returned to her seat. She sat. She placed the phone on her lap. The screen dimmed after 10 seconds. The briefcase remained open. The receptionist typed. Elena stared at the dimmed phone screen. A distant elevator chimed. The clock read 5:02 p.m. At 5:09, the reception phone rang. The receptionist answered. "Good afternoon?" She listened for 5 seconds. She glanced toward Elena in the waiting area. Their eyes met for 1 second. "Yes, she's still here." She paused, listening for 4 seconds. "Okay, I'll let her know." She hung up. She looked toward Elena and raised her voice slightly. "Miss Moss?" Elena stood immediately. She walked to the desk. She stopped at the counter. That was Mr. Hargrove's office. He's just wrapping up now. Should be about 10 more minutes. "Okay, and you can keep waiting here, or I can call you when he's ready if you want to step out." "I'll wait." "Okay." The receptionist returned to typing. Elena walked back to her seat. She sat. She closed her briefcase and latched it fully. She straightened her posture. She removed her coat. She folded it lengthwise, then in half. She placed it on the adjacent chair. She smoothed the front of her blouse. She touched her collar. She checked her phone. 5:11 p.m. She returned the phone to the coat pocket. At 5:14, a new visitor arrived. A man in his 40s, carrying a portfolio case. He approached the reception desk and gave his name. "Have a seat. She'll be right with you." The man sat 2 chairs away from Elena. At 5:16, a woman emerged from the hallway. She greeted the man by name and smiled. They walked together toward the hallway. They disappeared. Elena watched this interaction. The receptionist's desk now showed both monitors on. The lobby felt warmer. The lighting had stabilized. Elena sat upright, prepared. The receptionist typed steadily. An elevator chimed. The clock read 5:18 p.m. At 5:21, Elena glanced at the reception desk. The receptionist was on the phone. An unrelated call. Elena did not stand. At 5:23, she shifted forward in her seat. At 5:24, she stood. She did not walk to the desk yet. She walked to the water cooler near the elevators. She filled a small paper cup. She drank the water in 3 sips. She emptied the cup. She refilled it halfway. She carried the cup back to her seat. She did not drink. She sat. The cup remained in her right hand. She placed the water cup on the side table between chairs. She picked it up again. 2 seconds later, she placed it down in the same spot. She left it there. The cup sat untouched. At 5:26, an elevator arrived. Only one arrival in the last 8 minutes. The lights in the hallway had dimmed to 60% of their earlier brightness. The second monitor, at the reception desk, powered down. The screen went black. The phone rang once and went to voicemail. The receptionist did not answer it. At 5:28, Elena stood. The water cup remained on the table. She walked to the reception desk. It's been almost 20 minutes. The receptionist typed and checked her screen for 3 seconds. Let me call back there. She dialed an extension visible on the phone display, X4738. The phone rang. Elena could hear it through the handset. 6 rings. No answer. The receptionist hung up. It's going to voicemail. He might have stepped into another meeting. Another meeting? Sometimes things run back to back. I can keep trying. Should I reschedule? That's up to you. I can leave a message that you were here. Elena stood at the desk for 4 seconds. No movement. I'll wait a bit longer. Okay. The receptionist returned to typing. Elena returned to her seat. She sat. She did not pick up the water cup. She looked at her coat on the adjacent chair. She did not put it back on. Her hands rested in her lap. She looked at the clock. 5:31 p.m. The water cup sat on the table, untouched. Elena remained motionless. The receptionist typed. The clock ticked. At 5:38, a door opened in the hallway. Footsteps, dress shoes on tile, a man emerged. Vincent Hargrove wore a dark overcoat. He carried a leather briefcase in his left hand. He walked toward the elevator bank at a purposeful pace. He passed within 12 feet of Elena's seat. His gaze remained forward, toward the elevators. He did not scan the waiting area. The receptionist looked up. Good night, Mr. Hargrove. Night. He did not stop walking. He did not slow. He did not look toward the reception desk. He pressed the elevator call button. He stood facing the elevator doors. His back was to the lobby. His back was to Elena. He waited. 8 seconds passed. He adjusted his briefcase grip, shifting it from his left hand to his right. The elevator arrived. The doors opened. He entered. He turned and faced forward. The doors closed. The floor indicator began its descent. 14, 13. Elena sat completely still. She had watched him emerge from the hallway. Her body had tensed slightly when she recognized him. She did not stand. She did not call out. She did not move. She watched him press the button. She watched him wait. She watched him enter the elevator. She watched the doors close. She watched the floor indicator. 11, 10, 9, L. She remained seated. Her hands stayed in her lap. She stared at the elevator bank. The doors were closed. The indicator showed L. 6 seconds passed. She blinked twice. She looked at the clock. 5:41 p.m. She stood slowly. She walked to the reception desk. She waited for the receptionist to finish typing. 4 seconds. The receptionist looked up. That was Vincent Hargrove. Yes. I've been waiting for him since 3. The receptionist looked at her screen for 2 seconds. I see that. I'm sorry. I don't have any other information. He just left. Yes. Elena paused for 2 seconds. Was I supposed to meet with him today? You were on the calendar for 3 o'clock. Another pause. Was I taken off? I don't have access to his calendar directly. I just see the lobby appointments. Who would know? His assistant, Bryn Collier. Is she here? She left around 5. Can you call her? I can send an email. Pause. Can you call Mr. Hargrove? I don't have his mobile number. Elena stood without moving for 8 seconds. What should I do? The receptionist's tone softened slightly. I can leave a message that you waited. They'll reach out if they need to reschedule. If they need to? The receptionist paused for 2 seconds. I'm sorry, that's all I can do. Elena remained at the desk for 8 seconds. No movement. Okay. She turned. She returned to the waiting area. She did not sit. The receptionist returned to typing. Elena stood in the waiting area. 5 seconds of silence. Elena stood in the waiting area. Her coat remained on the adjacent chair. Her briefcase sat on the floor. The water cup sat on the side table. She removed her phone from the coat pocket. She unlocked it. She opened the email app. She scrolled to the confirmation email. She had viewed it 6 times today. Subject: Meeting confirmation. Tuesday, 3 p.m. V. Hargrove. She tapped the email to open the full view. The body text read, Elena, looking forward to discussing your compliance proposal. See you Tuesday at 3. VH. The email was sent 6 days ago, Tuesday of the previous week. She scrolled down. No follow-up email appeared below. No cancellation. No reschedule request. She closed the email. She did not delete it. She opened her sent mail folder. She found her response from 6 days ago. Her reply, Thank you, I'll be there. Elena Moss. She closed the sent folder. She placed the phone face down on her lap. She looked at the reception desk. The receptionist was typing, head down. She looked at the hallway, empty, dim lighting. She looked at the elevator bank. The floor indicator showed activity, L3712L. She looked at the clock above the desk, 5:53 p.m. She removed the parking ticket from her coat pocket. She looked at the validation sticker. Validation expires 5:45 p.m. Current time 5:53 p.m. Overage 8 minutes. The rate structure was printed on the ticket, $4 per 15 minutes after validation. She returned the ticket to her coat pocket. She picked up her coat from the chair. She stood. She put the coat on. She buttoned it. 3 buttons. She did all 3, methodically. She picked up her briefcase. She held it in her right hand. She looked at the water cup on the side table. Still half full, untouched, she left it there. She walked toward the reception desk. She stopped 4 feet from the counter. The receptionist looked up. "Can you tell him I was here?" "Of course." Elena paused for 3 seconds. "For 3 hours." The receptionist paused for 2 seconds. Her tone was softer. "I will." "Thank you." Elena turned from the desk. She walked to the elevator bank. 8 steps. She pressed the down button. She waited facing the elevator doors. The elevator arrived in 6 seconds. The doors opened. The car was empty. Elena entered. She turned and faced forward. She pressed the L button. The doors closed. Her face showed no visible emotion. The elevator descended. After the doors closed, the receptionist returned to her computer. She typed briefly for 15 seconds. She closed a browser window. She powered down the second monitor. It was already dark. She powered down the main monitor. She stood. She put on her jacket from the back of her chair. She picked up her purse from under the desk. She left the desk. She walked toward the side exit. 2 overhead light banks turned off automatically. Emergency lighting remained. The lobby was empty. The clock read 6:02 p.m. The elevator doors opened to the parking garage. Level P3. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Concrete pillars numbered P314, P315, P316. The floor showed oil stains and tire marks. The air was cool and stale. A ventilation system hummed in the background. Elena exited the elevator. The doors closed behind her. She stood in the vestibule for 2 seconds. She looked left, then right. She walked toward the parking area. Her car was visible 40 feet from the elevator, a 2012 Toyota Camry, silver. The parking ticket showed white through the windshield. She walked 25 feet. She stopped in the middle of the parking aisle. She stood motionless for 4 seconds. She looked at her car from 15 feet away. She did not continue walking. She shifted her briefcase to her left hand. She shifted it back to her right hand. She looked at the concrete floor. She resumed walking at a slow pace. She stopped at the driver's door. She removed her keys from her coat pocket. She unlocked the door. The electronic beep echoed. She opened the door but stayed outside. She leaned across from outside and placed her briefcase on the passenger seat. She did not enter the car yet. She remained standing outside with the door open. She removed the parking ticket from the dashboard. She straightened. She stood outside the car and looked at the validation sticker on the ticket. She looked at the entry timestamp, 2:47 p.m. She checked her phone for the current time, 6:10 p.m. Total parking time, 3 hours and 23 minutes. The validation covered 3 hours, 2:47 to 5:47. Overage, 23 minutes. She got in the car and closed the door. She placed the parking ticket on the dashboard in the same position as before. She did not start the engine. She sat in silence. She placed her hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2. She removed her hands and placed them in her lap. She looked at the parking ticket on the dashboard. She adjusted the rearview mirror. It did not need adjustment. She adjusted the driver's seat. She pushed the button. The seat moved back 1 inch, then forward to its original position. She placed her hands on the steering wheel again. She removed them again. She looked at the parking ticket a third time. 2 rows away, another car started its engine. Headlights illuminated, backup lights came on. The car backed out of its space and drove toward the exit ramp. The engine sound faded. Silence returned. 1 overhead light flickered. The light marked P318. The ventilation system maintained its steady hum. No other people were visible on the level. A distant sound came from an elevator on a different level. At 6:17, Elena started the engine. The dashboard lights illuminated. She did not shift into gear. The engine idled with a low rumble. She sat with the engine running. She looked at the steering wheel. She looked at the gear shift. It remained in park. She turned the engine off. Silence. She sat in the quiet car. At 6:24, her phone vibrated in her coat pocket. She removed the phone. She unlocked the screen. A text message notification appeared. From Michael? Message. Still at the meeting? Time sent, 6:22 p.m. She read the message. She did not type a reply. She locked the phone. The message remained unanswered. She placed the phone in the cup holder. She sat. She looked at the steering wheel. She looked up at the parking garage ceiling. Concrete, exposed pipes, fluorescent fixtures. She looked at the passenger seat. The briefcase was visible, closed. She opened the briefcase. She removed the folder containing compliance documents prepared for the meeting. She opened the folder. The pages showed highlighted text and sticky notes with handwritten comments. Tabs protruded. Section 4. 2. Protocol Standards, Appendix C, and Plates. She looked at the first page. She did not read. She stared. She closed the folder. She returned the folder to the briefcase. She closed the briefcase. She latched both sides. Click, click. The phone vibrated again in the cup holder. The screen lit up. A new message was visible through the lock screen. From Michael Preview, let me know when you're... Elena did not pick up the phone. She did not read the full message. The screen dimmed after 5 seconds. The screen went dark. She started the engine again. The dashboard illuminated. She shifted into reverse. The backup camera activated on the dashboard display. She backed out of her parking space slowly, controlled. She shifted into drive. She drove toward the exit ramp. The spiral ramp ascended. She approached the parking attendant booth. One car was ahead of her. Brake lights were visible. The car ahead. The attendant scanned the ticket. The gate rose. The car exited. Elena pulled forward to the booth. She stopped. She lowered her window. The electric window hummed. She removed the parking ticket from the dashboard. She handed it to the attendant. A male attendant, 40s, wearing a uniform. The attendant scanned the ticket. He looked at his computer screen for 2 seconds. $8. He did not explain the overage charge. Elena removed her wallet from her purse on the passenger seat, under the briefcase. She opened the wallet. She removed a $10 bill. She handed it to the attendant. Receipt? No. The attendant handed her 2 $1 bills as change. Elena took the change. The gate rose. The mechanical arm had yellow and black stripes. Elena drove through. The gate lowered behind her. She turned right onto the street. City traffic. Evening rush hour remnants. She merged into traffic. She stopped at a red light. 3 cars were ahead in her lane. Brake lights ahead. Street lights illuminating. She reached to the cup holder. She picked up her phone. She unlocked the screen. 2 messages from Michael were visible. 6:22 p.m. Still at the meeting? 6:31 p.m. Let me know when you're heading home. She did not type a reply to either message. She locked the phone. She returned it to the cup holder. Both hands returned to the steering wheel. The light turned green. The cars ahead moved. Elena accelerated. She drove forward. She merged into the flow of traffic. She continued driving. The clock read 6:42 p.m. Wednesday, 9:14 a.m. Elena's home office. She sat at her desk. Her laptop was open. A MacBook. The screen was visible. A coffee mug sat on the desk. Ceramic, full, steam rising. She was not drinking from it. Her phone lay on the desk, face up, unlocked. The window showed natural light. Morning sun. The door to the office was closed. The house was quiet. Her daughter was at school. Her husband was at work. The laptop screen showed her email inbox. 47 unread emails. She scrolled through the list. She scanned sender names. No email from Vincent Hargrove. No email from Bryn Collier. No email from the corporate headquarters domain. She stopped scrolling. She opened an email, the 5th in the list. From David Chen, a colleague who knew Judith Kemper. Subject, how did it go? Body text, Elena, did you meet with Vincent yesterday? Judith said he was very interested in your compliance framework. Let me know if I can help with next steps. David. Sent. Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. During Elena's drive home. She read the full email. 8 seconds. Her cursor hovered over the reply button. She did not click. The cursor moved away. She closed the email. She did not reply. She returned to the inbox view. She clicked compose. A new message window opened. The cursor appeared in the to field. It blinked in the empty field. She typed nothing. She moved to the subject field, skipping the recipient. She typed nothing. She moved to the body field. The cursor blinked. She typed nothing. She closed the draft window. A prompt appeared. Save draft? She clicked don't save. The draft deleted. She picked up her phone from the desk. She unlocked it. The screen had already been unlocked, but had dimmed. She opened the Contacts app. She scrolled to H. A contact was visible. Hargrove, Vincent, and the contact contained an email address only. Vincent.hargrove@company.com. No phone number was listed. She stared at the contact entry for 5 seconds. She did not tap to call or email. She locked the phone. She placed it face down on the desk. She stood from the desk chair. She walked to the kitchen. 8 steps. Adjacent room. She picked up the coffee mug from the desk. She took it with her. The coffee was still steaming, full, untouched. She poured the coffee down the sink, the full mug wasted. She rinsed the mug. She refilled it with fresh coffee from the pot. She returned to the office. She placed the mug on the desk. She did not sit. She stood behind the chair. She looked at the laptop screen. The inbox was still displayed. The clock read 9:31 a.m. At 9:47, Elena sat at the desk. She opened a new email draft. She typed in the to field, Vincent. Hargrove, auto, complete, suggested Vincent. Hargrove@company.com. She selected the suggested address. She moved to the subject field. She typed Tuesday meeting. She moved to the body. She typed Vincent, I waited in your lobby for over 3 hours yesterday. She stopped typing. She read what she wrote. 3 seconds. She highlighted the sentence. She deleted the entire body. The subject remained. Tuesday meeting. She changed the subject to follow-up. In the body field, a new attempt. She typed, I wanted to follow up on our scheduled meeting yesterday. I arrived at 3 p.m. as confirmed, but understand you were unavailable. Please let me know if you'd like to reschedule. She read the draft. She highlighted the phrase, but understand you were unavailable. She deleted the phrase. She typed, but was unable to meet with you. She read again. She highlighted the entire body. She deleted all text. The subject still read, follow-up. The body, empty. Third attempt in the body field. She typed, I arrived for our 3 p.m. meeting yesterday and waited until 6 p.m. I was told you left the building around 5:40. I did not receive any communication about a cancellation. Could you please clarify whether you still want to discuss the compliance framework? She read the full draft. 10 seconds. Her cursor hovered over the send button. Her finger hovered over the trackpad. She did not click. She minimized the email draft window. She did not delete it. The draft saved. She opened a web browser. She typed in the search bar, corporate headquarters and the city name. She clicked on the company website. The first result. She navigated to the Contact Us page. She found General Reception, 555-847-2200. She removed a sticky note from her desk drawer. She wrote on it, 555-847-2200. She placed the sticky note on the desk next to her keyboard. She looked at the phone number. She did not pick up her phone. She did not dial. The office phone rang. The cordless phone on her desk. The caller ID display showed unknown number. Elena looked at the phone. She did not pick it up. Ring 2, ring 3, ring 4. The voicemail picked up. An automated message played in the background. The caller did not leave a message. No beep was heard. The phone stopped ringing. Elena did not check the voicemail. She maximized the email draft window. Draft 3 was still visible. I arrived for our 3 p.m. meeting yesterday and waited until 6 p.m. I was told you left the building around 5:40. I did not receive any communication about a cancellation. Could you please clarify whether you still want to discuss the compliance framework? She read what she had written. She changed the subject line from follow-up to Tuesday appointment. She read the body again. She highlighted all text in the body. She deleted it. The body was empty again. Fourth attempt. Final attempt. She typed, Vincent, I was there yesterday. I waited. Please let me know if you'd like to reschedule or if we should cancel entirely. She read it. She highlighted the phrase, I waited. She deleted it. Remaining. Vincent, I was there yesterday. Please let me know if you'd like to reschedule or if we should cancel entirely. And she highlighted the phrase, or if we should cancel entirely. She deleted it. Final body. Vincent, I was there yesterday. Please let me know if you'd like to reschedule. Her cursor moved over the send button. Her hand hovered over the mouse, the trackpad. She did not click. She moved the cursor away from send. She clicked Save Draft. The draft saved to her drafts folder. She closed the email window. The draft remained unsent. She opened her phone. She picked it up from the desk. She opened the Contacts app. She scrolled to K. She searched for Judith Kemper. No contact was saved. Judith had retired. The contact information had been deleted. She closed Contacts. She opened the email app on her phone. She searched her inbox. Judith. She found an old email thread, 8 months ago. Subject, possible connection. She opened the thread. Date, March 2024. From judith.kemper@old company. Combody, Elena, I mentioned you to Vincent Hargrove at my old firm. He might reach out about compliance consulting. You'd be a great fit. Good luck. Judith, Elena's reply from 8 months ago. Thank you so much, Judith. I really appreciated the introduction. She read Judith's email. She closed the email thread. She locked her phone. She placed it on the desk. She opened the laptop calendar. She navigated to yesterday. Tuesday. The meeting entry was still listed. Hargrove, exploratory discussion, 3 o'clock p.m. She right-clicked on the meeting entry. A context menu appeared. Edit, delete, duplicate. Her cursor hovered over delete. It hovered for 4 seconds. She did not click. She clicked outside the menu. The menu closed. The meeting remained on the calendar. She closed the calendar application. The clock read 10:08 a.m., Friday, 2:17 p.m., 3 days after the meeting. Elena sat in her car, a coffee shop parking lot. The engine was off. Her hands rested in her lap. The email was never sent. The meeting remained on her calendar. She had driven here to work from a different location. She had not entered the coffee shop. Her laptop bag sat on the passenger seat. A woman walked past her car, carrying a child's backpack and a to-go cup. The woman got into a sedan, 2 spaces away. She started the engine. She backed out. She drove away. Elena did not start her engine. Her phone lay face down on the center console. No missed calls. No new emails from corporate headquarters. No reschedule request. She had received one email Wednesday afternoon from David Chen, the mutual contact. Subject, checking in. One body. Haven't heard back. Did the meeting with Vincent go well? Let me know if you need an intro to anyone else on their team. Elena had replied Thursday morning. The meeting didn't happen. Thank you for the introduction. No response yet. Elena opened the car door. She got out. She locked the car. She walked toward the coffee shop entrance. She stopped before reaching the door. She looked through the window. The shop was moderately full. Laptop users at the window counter. 2 people in line. A barista at the register. Elena returned to her car. She unlocked it. She got in. She closed the door. She did not start the engine. Her daughter had asked yesterday, "Mom, did you get that job?" Elena had said, "It wasn't a job. It was a meeting." "Did they hire you?" "No." "Why not?" "It didn't work out." Mia had accepted this. She had returned to her homework. Michael had not asked follow-up questions when he got home. Elena had not offered details. At dinner, Michael had mentioned a colleague who was laid off. Elena had said, "That's hard." They had discussed other things. Saturday morning, Elena had updated her consulting website. She had removed one line from her bio. Currently, in discussions with several corporate clients regarding compliance framework implementation. And she had replaced it with available for compliance consulting and framework development. The change had taken 4 minutes. She had published the update. She had closed her laptop. Sunday, she had taken Mia to a birthday party. Another parent had asked, "How's work?" Elena had said, "Steady," and the parent had said, "That's good in this economy." Elena had agreed. Monday morning, Elena had opened her calendar. The meeting was still there. Hargrove, exploratory discussion, 3:05 p.m. Date, last Tuesday. She had right-clicked. She had selected delete. A dialog box had appeared. Delete this event? She had clicked cancel. The meeting had remained. She had closed her calendar. Tuesday, 1 week after the meeting, Elena had received a form email from no reply at company. Come subject, we value your feedback. Body, thank you for visiting our corporate headquarters. Please take a moment to rate your experience. There had been a link to a survey. Elena had not clicked it. She had archived the email. Wednesday afternoon, Elena had been on a call with a current client. The client had asked, "Are you taking on new projects?" Elena had said, yes, depending on scope. We might have a referral for you. Compliance audit work. I'd appreciate that. I'll send an intro email. Thank you. The intro email had not arrived yet. Thursday, Elena had driven past the corporate headquarters. Not intentionally. She had been meeting a different client 2 blocks away. Traffic had been slow. She had stopped at a red light. The building had been visible. 14th floor windows had reflected afternoon sun. The light had turned green. She had driven. Friday morning, Elena had opened her email drafts folder. The unsent email to Vincent Hargrove was still there. "Vincent, I was there yesterday. Please let me know if you'd like to reschedule." She had read it. She had not edited it. She had not sent it. She had not deleted it. She had closed the drafts folder. Friday afternoon. Now. Elena sat in her car, in the coffee shop parking lot. She picked up her phone. She unlocked it. She opened her calendar. She scrolled to last Tuesday. The meeting was still there. She did not delete it. She locked her phone. She placed it back on the console. A man walked past her car. He entered the coffee shop. Elena watched through the windshield. He ordered. He waited. He received his drink. He sat at a table near the window. He opened a laptop. Elena looked at her laptop bag on the passenger seat. She did not reach for it. Time, 2:43 p.m. Elena started the engine. She shifted into reverse. She backed out of the parking space. She shifted into drive. She exited the parking lot. She did not go to another coffee shop. She drove home. A corporate lobby. Tuesday afternoon, polished floor, glass walls, a reception desk. A woman in business attire, seated behind it. A phone, a computer with the screen angled away. A chair in the waiting area. Recently occupied, still warm. Someone approaches the desk, gives a name. The receptionist types. The receptionist says, "Have a seat, he'll be right with you." The person sits. The clock above the reception desk reads 3:04 p.m. How long is reasonable? When does waiting become a choice? When does patience become complicity in your own erasure? If you leave, you forfeit the possibility that it might still happen. If you stay, you confirm that your time is negotiable. Which humiliation is smaller,